Howdy, friend. Sam Houston here, hoping you're living in high cotton. And if you're lucky enough to be in Texas, I know you're most of the way there. Now enjoy your daily dose of Texas history and Texas pride.
Howdy, friend. Welcome back to the Feed Bandit podcast and your Texas history roundup for perhaps the most important date, in the history of Texas, March 6th. In 1836, at about 5 a.m., General Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna's assault on the Alamo began from four directions. Colonel William B. Travis fell early, and Colonel James Bowie may have been one of those executed after the fall of the fortress. All the Alamo defenders died in the 90-minute battle, while possibly 600 Mexicans were killed or wounded. Several women, children, and slaves were allowed by Santa Anna to leave the Alamo, among them Susanna W. Dickinson, who was the widow of Almaron Dickinson, and her daughter Angelina. Late this same day, the delegates at Washington on the Brazos received Travis's March 3rd appeal. Quote, "I look to the colonies for aid. Unless it arrives soon, I shall have to fight the enemy on his own terms. God in Texas, victory or death." End quote. A proposal was offered to adjourn the convention so that the delegates could join the defense of the Alamo, but General Sam Houston argued that they must remain and form a government. After receiving his official commission, Houston left with George W. Hockley, who is now Army Inspector General, and three others for the 115-mile ride to Gonzales. Also on this day, Acting Governor James W. Robinson wrote to Fannin to, quote, "use your own discretion to remain where you are or to retreat as you may think best for the safety of the brave volunteers under your command." In 1867, Samuel F. Cody was born in Iowa. He later fabricated the legend that he had been born in Birdville, Texas, escaped an Indian raid that killed his parents, and was either related to or was the real Buffalo Bill Cody. After a brief stint as Captain Cody, King of the Cowboys, in Adam Forepaw's Wild West show, he formed S.F. Cody and Family, champion shooters of America and England in 1892. In England, he became immersed in kite flying and aviation, setting many records with kites and airplanes. Cody, who is known as the father of British aviation, died in a plane crash in 1913. In 1905, James R. Bob Wills, father of the Western Swing, was born near Coss, Limestone County. As a teenager, while playing in western Texas, he merged frontier fiddle music, blues, and jazz to create western swing. In Fort Worth, he founded the Light Crest Doughboys and worked for future Governor W. Lee Papio Daniel. His New San Antonio Rose in 1940 launched his career, and he subsequently made 19 movies. After partially recovering from a stroke, Wills and former members of the Texas Playboys recorded the Grammy Award-winning album For the Last Time, Bob Wills and His Texas Playboys in 1973. Wills, who's a member of the Country Music Hall of Fame, died in 1975 and is buried in Tulsa, Oklahoma. In 1935, Humble Oil's number one A.D. Middleton, about 7,000 feet deep, came in at 120 barrels per day and later produced 547 barrels per day with an improved oil-gas ratio, thus proving the potential of the Anahuac oil field. The field's annual production reached a peak of almost 12 million barrels in 1944, and by the end of 1992, cumulative production reached 277 million barrels. That the small number of operators agreed to one well per 20 acres greatly improved the field's ultimate production. And in 2017, a major fire scorched over 500,000 acres of farms and grasslands in the Texas Panhandle and took 3 lives. The fire also spread into Oklahoma, Colorado, and Kansas. With sustaining winds of around 50 miles per hour, the fire front moved about 5 to 10 miles per hour. Though panhandle fires are quite common, this fire was one of the worst on record. All right, my friends, that was your Texas History Roundup for March 6th. This is one of those days where one should stop and reflect and look back on the major events that happened, especially the major event that happened at the Alamo on this day. If that had never happened, then the lore of Texas would not be as deep and as powerful as it is. And to look at today, to see, would there be any people out there right now, and I might include myself in this comment, that would actually be willing to die like those people did. They knew they were going to be slaughtered by the overwhelming force of Santa Anna, but they stood their ground and fought to the death for what they believed in. Are there any Texans right now that would be willing to do that? Texas first. I don't think so. And I mean, I don't know if I would, be honest with you. It'd have to come to a critical mass, and that's kind of what I was talking about the other day on Texas Independence Day. There's got to be a catalyzing event that brings people together to actually say enough is enough. So, interesting question. But again, just want to leave you with this and say we'll see you back here tomorrow. Thanks so much for listening, and always remember the Alamo.
Well, there you have it. If you like our podcast, check us out at feedbandit.com. There you'll find awesome Texas First outdoors gear and apparel. Your purchase helps support the Bandits and keeps this podcast on the air, fighting for you and for Texas. Remember, preserve the tradition, protect the legacy. Until next time.